Speaking of, I guess, dads and Father's Day, we'll talk about the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open final round was yesterday, Sunday. Shout out Jon Rahm, not coming out of nowhere, but he just had a solid final round to win the U.S. Open at, I believe it was 6 under.
He was 600 for the day. Big thing about his final round, he birdied the first two holes and he birdied
Yeah.
the last two holes. That was huge.
That it was funny watching on Sunday because I watched beginning to end coverage on NBC,
Yeah.
and I mean I watched, and then I watched the hockey game afterwards. But it was funny, like the guys were like DeChambeau, Rom, Ustays, and not quite Mackenzie Hughes, but a few guys like started out the round really well, got to about the end of the front nine, started the back nine, and they were struggling. Like there was a good like hour and a half segment where the guys were just struggling and it looked like nobody wanted to win the tournament. And then all of a sudden, Jon Rahm hits the birdie on 17, gives the Tiger fist pump, and then does it again on 18, which clinches his win essentially. Thoughts on the U.S. Open?
There's a lot. That's a loaded question, Ian. I gotta say.
Okay, let's start with Rahm first. Well, let's start with Rahm, and we'll go through there.
Rahm deserved a major. I think he was one of the guys in that group that hasn't won a major that definitely deserved one, and he was good for him. Like first of all, good for him. And it's not like it was he earned it. It's not like it was given to him. He fucking earned that thing. Again, he big birdies on 1 and 2. Yeah, he again from hole 3 to hole 16, he was par bogey golf with a couple maybe a birdie or two mixed in. I don't remember his exact score, but he was 4 under on the day. And fact is, the birdies on 17 and 18 were huge, and I can't state that enough. 17, it was like a 25-foot slider to the right, which for right-handed putters, as you know, a breaking putt to the right is often harder to read than a one to the left when it's hooking in.
Yeah.
And the fact he made both nuts. And I think putting, especially the birdie on 18, put a lot of pressure on Oosthuizen to do some sort of damage coming, because remember Rahm was a couple holes ahead of Oosthuizen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Rahm by the time he finished 18, Oosthuizen maybe was on 12, 13, 14, like something along. Like he had a few holes to do something, and Oosthuizen just didn't get it done, unfortunately.
It wasn't just that. It was again we talk about Rahm again. Like on 18, he could have hit his bunker shot a lot closer than he did, but the fact that he hit the putt, which was huge.
Yeah.
And we look at what Usyk on 17. He blew it into the penalty area, which as soon as that happened, there was no way.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna. He needed to make par on 17. 18 is a birdie hole, and if you saw, he actually did birdie 18. So had he made par on 17, we would be into a playoff, and could have a different conversation than we are right now.
I was very excited to see Jon Rahm win. Obviously, his family was there. It's his like first win as a father, and then everybody first major as a father, and then of course there's the Memorial Tournament fiasco that happened a few weeks ago, where he had to pull out of the Memorial Tournament because of a positive COVID test on Saturday when he was winning by 6 shots. We all know the story. I want to talk about underwhelming golfers this weekend because I feel like it's Bryson DeChambeau in terms of underwhelming golfers, and then everybody else. So
not even that. I think let's start with some Canadian content. I think the fact is Mackenzie Hughes was 6 over for the day, which sucks. That's not, especially for a final round. Again, nothing to discredit the guy. He played great golf up until
Sunday.
Basically, hole 7 on Sunday. He was great. He was again in the hunt, going into the back 9. He was in the hunt. He just couldn't make a putt to save his life. He could not make. Nothing would fall for him. All of his 10 is like 5, 10, 15-foot putts, which 15 foots you might make half of them if you're playing well. You're in anything inside 10 feet you should make consistently, and he just wasn't making any of them. And it wasn't like he put himself in trouble all the time. He just couldn't make putts.
He just couldn't finish. That was his issue. He just couldn't finish.
That was his issue. And again, great, good for him. Now we've got that experience. Next time he's in a major like that, he's gonna maybe he'll do something different. Maybe it's just having that mental experience of having that experience of being in a major in a pressure cooker situation like he was in. It'll help him in the future for sure. And you talk about DeChambeau. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go on.
Um,
Go for it.
See, DeChambeau again. Let's not forget going into the 10th hole, he was the leader. He was the leader yesterday, and he was hitting the ball great down. Doing what Bryson does, hitting it 350,000 yards.
I thought he was doing a good Phil impression where he just missed every fairway in regulation, and then he hit like nice recovery shots, and then he putted well. Like that was Phil's thing. That was Phil's thing at the PGA, where Phil like it just seemed like never made a fairway, and then he had some nice recovery shots to put him in good spots, and then he would putt well.
What that's just Phil's patent, right? Is that he's just so good at making the recovery shots, and Bryson. That's not per se Bryson's.
That's not. I was gonna say that's not who Bryson is as a golfer, and that's not how he likes to play. I just thought that's how he was playing on Sunday, where he was missing fairways and he was hitting the rough.
Again, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's not forget.
No. If you're a good golfer, can do that. Like a good golfer can miss fairways like regularly or consistently, and still play good recovery shots to put him in contention. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing. And he was, like you say, in the lead going into the back nine.
The back nine, and then he went 4 over through 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
And then he quadruple bogeyed. That's correct. Quadruple bogeyed 17 because he put it in the hazard area as well on 17, and then he shanked a chip out of the bunker for par, and then he had to chip up and he 2-putted for 8. He
played like me on 17. Like it was that bad. Like, and I feel bad for the guy because obviously he didn't, like, nobody tries to play that bad at golf. But good Lord, that was tough to watch on Sunday afternoon.
PJ on the PJ, they have the shot tracer, so you can see like the line that follows the ball, right?
Yes.
On his chip, it just straight right.
Went back into the gallery. Like that's how bad it was. Like it wasn't even on line with the hole or the pin. It just went straight.
Well, because he hit the hosel, he hit the little, the little bit, and then there's the club. So there's a club face, and then
yeah.
So that's where he hit. And the thing, it's funny you talk about how it went straight right. A lot of that, I think a lot of that because of how he swings. You notice Bryson, he's the only player I noticed do this. He's like standing straight up.
Yes.
And his arms are like locked.
He's designed like that. Like that's how he's practiced, and that's how he set himself up. Is just to like do like you say, just straight up, straight arm.
But all I'm saying is that with how he was positioned in the bunker, he had to like choke down on his club, and he can only choke down so far without committing an infraction, right? So again, it's very. Yeah, it was a really tough spot he put himself in, and unfortunate bounce. But by that point, he was done anyways. Like he wasn't.
He wasn't even winning it by the time it got to 17. So.
Anyways, tough. Yeah, tough day for Bryson. I'd say those are two of the more underwhelming stories, especially from the final round. But again, going into the final round, there were so many golfers, so many like big names going into the. Within the top 15, really. Morikawa was there. DJ was there.
McIlroy was there. I wasn't thrilled with McIlroy. McIlroy kind of underwhelmed me a little bit. Like it just seemed like he was all over the place and didn't seem to have any sort of consistency to his game on Sunday. Even though I think he finished like even par somehow or like 1 over, but
on the day maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but again, the thing with McIlroy too is. Like nothing wrong with how he played. It's just he just couldn't finish putts. I think he was kind of grinding the whole final round, to be honest. And when you're not flowing, when you're not smooth, it's just hard. And that's guys that finish even or 1 over or 2 over. Those are guys that are grinding the round. Anyone that's in the red, anything under par, like Rahm. I mean, without going back into Rahm again, but Rahm was just flowing. After 17 he was buzzing, and 18 he had a great shot, just missed right in the bunker, but he chipped on and made the putt, and that was the difference maker. Is that Rahm with the flat sticks was huge, and even looking back to in the Tour Championship last year, remember some of the putts he made, or sorry, not the Tour Championship, but the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yes,
the putts he made were absolutely nuts, and him and DJ were kind of going 1-1, going at it, and missed it. It was Rahm's time, so yeah, it was awesome.
Mono a mono between him and DJ back in the FedEx Cup
Last
playoffs.
in the FedEx Cup playoffs, yeah, 100%. No,
And, and I just thought it was just a signature win. Like he just had that. I know everything in golf goes back to Tiger, but that's kind of his Tiger moment of just like sinking the putt on 17, the fist pump, like the excitement. It kind of reminded me a little bit of 2008 when he sinks the putt to send it to a playoff. But just a great all-around story with Jon Rahm winning it. Any other guys or players that you want to mention, good or bad, before we head out and talk about something else? I thought Koepka actually had a good back nine, like to put himself into position. Koepka like played better than I thought he was going to. I thought DeChambeau was going to finish ahead of him, but that was more DeChambeau just shitting the bed than Koepka.
Yeah, Koepka is always going to be in every U.S. Open, every major for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to always be in the mix. Whether he wins or not, that's yet to be seen. He won a couple majors at this point, a couple in the U.S. Open as well, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, but yeah, it's again the thing with Brooks is I'm excited. I gotta say I can't wait for a Brooks Bryson either match or a grouping or whatnot. It's gonna be good for golf and good for content. We'll see what happens. But again, Brooks won in terms of who's better. Brooks was better in the final round. Bryson was the better golfer the whole week, but yeah, it was close.
I was gonna say we'll see them go at one another for the next match event. I think which is taking place July 4th weekend in Big Sky, Montana, Wyoming. Because that's the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
That's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady.
So there's that match, and then of course, obviously, the next major championship will be the British Open, the Open Championship. I don't know what the official name is. It'll be taking place. I think when we're in Victoria for our SYP takeover.
That weekend, yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds right. So we got some great golf content coming up here in the next few weeks.